you knew how important this mission was to the crew as they were prepping for it and throughout the mission, and seeing them be able to egress with the same smiles that they went into the capsule with, or into the spacecraft with. Well, at this point, the crew is now safely back home on Earth.
Yeah. Now,
all right, all 4 crew members have emerged from that capsule, and they are now back on Earth. That marks the end of and a very successful end of the entire space mission. Those are first visuals of Shubhanshu Shukla, or Shuks, back on Earth. He's made a splash, all crew members out of the Dragon capsule. Now, the next phase will be about the lessons, the learnings from their mission, the 18-day mission at the International Space Station, where they conducted those 60-odd experiments. But viewers tuning in right now to NDTV, on your screens right now are the latest visuals coming in of Shubhanshu Shukla, India's space hero, back on Earth after concluding a very successful space mission. 18 days is the time that he and 3 of his other international co-members of the mission spent on the International Space Station. And now, from orbit to ocean, safe return of Shubhanshu Shukla and 3 others as far as this mission is concerned. And rightfully, NDTV here is saying welcome back to Shubhanshu Shukla, a man who's set to now steer India towards next phase of its space mission, space program. A lot in the pipeline, likely to get a fresh fillip with Shubhanshu Shukla's journey into the International Space Station that has just concluded. And on your screens are those live visuals of all 4 members returning safely to Earth. This was a very carefully planned, minute and detailed mission, last end of it, which was the return to Earth, and that has happened with complete perfection and completely on time. And Axiom for's riveting re-entry and return is a big story on NDTV that we are getting for you viewers. The re-entry mode that we have been telling our viewers for the last 2 hours is a very intricate process and extremely challenging as well, and all went to near perfection that happened, and which is what we've been talking about. Now, what happens next? The next 7 odd days is when the astronauts, all 4 of them, will be under some rehabilitation process, coming back to the conditions on Earth. That's again a very detailed process. Remember, they were all in space for 18 days. Now they will be brought back into the conditions for Earth, which will require a certain rehabilitation, and that is about a 7 to 8 day process, again minutely executed and detailed for all astronauts to be able to physically come back in terms of aligning to the Earth's conditions. So that's the next phase of it. On your screens, on the left hand side are the visuals from the splashdown, and then of course the all crew members coming out of the Dragon capsule. And on the other hand is the visuals coming in from Lucknow, where Shubhanshu Shukla's family, parents, sister, wife, all of them celebrating the successful return of Shubhanshu Shukla back on Earth. So those are live visuals on both ends that you are seeing, viewers. If you're tuning in right now, this is the big story that we have been getting you for the last over a fortnight. Shubhanshu Shukla scripting space history. He became the first Indian since Rakesh Sharma in the last 41 years to go to space. He was the first Indian to go to the International Space Station. One along with a total of 4 crew members went. He, along with 3 other international astronauts, led by American Commander Peggy Whitson, and now they've all safely returned, spending 18 days, 3 days extra due to the weather conditions that delayed their return journey. And during this time, Shubhanshu Shukla conducted key experiments, and that is going to be critical for India's space journey from here on. And that's the big story, India's big cosmic leap as Shubhanshu Shukla returns back on Earth. All right, viewers, let's quickly play out this conversation that NDTV had with Shubhanshu Shukla's parents, who are celebrating there after that near perfect touchdown, that splashdown. Listen in.
बेटे का नाम तो इतिहास में दर्ज हो गया। राकेश शर्मा जी को हम लोग किताबों में पढ़ते थे, हमारे बाद की पीढ़ियां शुभांशु को किताबों में पढ़ेंगी। ये एक कितना बड़ा, कितना भावुक पल है आपके?
ये बहुत भावुक कर देने वाला पल है। बहुत बड़ा दिन है हमारे लिए। हमारे बच्चे की वजह से इतना गर्व का पल हमको महसूस हो रहा है कि उसको हम शब्दों में नहीं बयान कर सकते। बहुत ज़्यादा गौरव का पल है हमारे लिए, बहुत ज़्यादा।
जब यहाँ से टेक ऑफ हो रहा था, जब डॉकिंग हो रही थी, तब भी हमने आपसे बात की थी, आपने कहा डर नहीं लग रहा है, लेकिन जब डॉकिंग का टाइम था तब आप पूरा परिवार बहुत
All right, we're going to connect and get Sanjay Lakshmi Narayanan, who's a researcher and development engineer, to talk more about what this means, the significance of this milestone that Shubhanshu Shukla has achieved, that India has achieved. And Mr. Narayan, let me then bring you in on the importance of this milestone. The splashdown is complete. All 4 astronauts have now stepped out of the Dragon capsule. Everything has gone picture perfect in terms of its execution. Your thoughts on the milestone that India and Indian space has achieved today?
It's actually very significant given the fact that he was there for 18 days. He collaborated to conduct experiments, like 60 experiments, and he was able to speak to a lot of audience, a wide audience, not only just the Prime Minister, but also interact with the students, the bright young minds who will one day become aerospace engineers and want to go to space. So all of this is an exceptional achievement for me, and it's incredible.
It is an extremely important milestone, something that really sets the trajectory for India's space program from here on. And it's also important to tell our viewers the next immediate steps for Shubhanshu Shukla and 3 of his other co-astronauts, because as I said, there's a certain rehabilitation program that has to take place. And I'm going to get in Pallava Bagla to talk more on that and detail for our viewers the next steps from here on. But before that, Mr. Narayanan, now the immediate steps from here in terms of the lessons and learnings that those experiments that Shubhanshu Shukla carried out for India from here on, how significant would they be from here on?
So I think the first thing is that they will probably go and get used to gravity on Earth. I think they already had some sort of exercise routine on board the space station, which every astronaut does, so that when they return back to Earth, they're easily, back to normal life. But otherwise, the experiments, especially the ones I've been following, is the one that he conducted on diabetes, insulin properties, and stem cell research that was conducted during this mission. So that's going to be very interesting, because in future, today you need to be physically fit. You have to undergo some training to go to space. Tomorrow, if a diabetic patient wants to go to space, for instance, the research is going to give us the findings, whether it is going to be possible, or how insulin is going to work in space.
Yes.
And then stem cells, it's been a promising research in medical science for treating various patients and regrowing organs, and so it's also going to be exceptional. And the cancer research that they've also done.
And we're going to take that in detail.
For long stays.
Sajay, we're going to take that step by step. And I'm going to get in Pallava as well. But let's first get in Ranveer also, who's joining us live from that exact spot, viewers, where you're getting these live visuals from, where the family is celebrating along with 1 billion Indians. Ranveer, you've been speaking to the family. They have every reason to be jubilant and also grateful for this day, for this momentous occasion.
Obviously, I saw a mixture of excitement as well as fear and happiness. At the same time, when the family was sitting here, they were continuously seeing on that screen, which is here, and I'm seeing the family is interacting with the media. So a mixture of fear and excitement and happiness when the landing was done. And now, obviously, the family is very much happy. They are going to celebrate it the evening. The father said that he was in temple praying to God for a safe recovery, for a safe landing. Mother was also feared about the landing, but after the landing, she shown confidence and she is now excited for another journey in 2027 when Shubhanshu is expected to visit in the space during Gaganyaan mission. So the family is now obviously they are relaxed because Shubhanshu has made a history. He is the first one from India who has reached the International Space Station, and obviously from a very normal family, Shubhanshu has done an exceptional job. So the family is very much excited, very much happy, and they are now keen to meet Shubhanshu, but they have to wait for some another days, probably a month or more, because Shubhanshu will be in isolation for next 7 or 8 days, and after that due to some technical reasons they are not able to meet Shubhanshu, but obviously they are very keen, they are excited to meet him, to hug him. And when I was talking to his sister Shuchi, she said that obviously that moment when the capsule was reaching land, she was feared, but the emotion was not explainable. But obviously the family is now very much relaxed and now waiting for the moment when Shubhanshu will reach home, and they will celebrate that moment also.
Ranveer, stay with me because I want to rope in Pallava here in terms of the next steps, and then I come back to you, Ranveer, which is Pallava, talk to us about the next steps from here on. They now, of course, have to be acclimatized with gravity being one. What is the next steps from here on for the astronauts for the next 2 to 3 weeks as they acclimatize to Earth?
Well, a very happy moment for India. India's second astronaut is back on Earth, still floating in the Pacific Ocean. He will now be taken from the ship to land somewhere in San Diego, and from there onward to Houston, where there would be a detailed debriefing and a detailed medical examination. Group Captain Shukla looked happy, he waved, he walked out. So he seems to have braced both microgravity and gravity like a fighter pilot who's a test pilot would. So Group Captain Shukla has created history, and India's Science Minister Dr. Jiten Singh had given a small little briefing, and it seems that Group Captain Shukla will probably come to Earth or come to India around Independence Day. So we will see major celebrations around that time when Group Captain Shukla comes back to India after his first sojourn in space and then getting debriefed at the Axiom facilities, both by NASA officials and by Axiom and ISRO, and then he will be back home. Right now, he must be adjusting to the microgravity conditions on Earth. He's still on the ship probably. We don't have any more live visual coverage after he came out of the Crew Dragon, and then he will get on with his life. But for him and for India, life is going to become more difficult here onwards. This was the first baby step for India's Gaganyaan program. It was a ride which was on a hired rocket, a hired Crew Dragon, well tested, but India's Gaganyaan, which is highly ambitious, will need a lot of what he has learnt, and all have to be translated to ISRO.
Stay with us. Okay, I believe Ranveer, but before I get in Ranveer, let's go back to Sanjay Lakshminarayan. Mr. Lakshminarayan, respond to what Pallava just said, that these are these are important steps, but they are still baby steps in terms of the kind of ambition that India has for its space program. Your thoughts?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I mean, because now Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is the only person who knows how to fly a capsule. He's been to the space station. He knows how to dock, how the orbit is incrementally increased from the Earth's surface to the space station. And also, we are planning on our own space station, Bharatiya Antariksh Station. So building that and whole Bharatiya Antariksh Station cannot be launched at once. So it has to be assembled in space. And the experience that now he has got has to be transferred to a lot of other people who has to be trained with the same skill set. And then that needs to be further extended, to the challenges that they encounter further. So that is going to be incredibly most important thing. That is Shubhanshu Shukla training maybe another 10 or 15 astronauts, with the same skill sets that he has acquired in the last 20-25 days.
Yes. Palwa sir, you mentioned about the fact that this is early steps and early days in terms of what lies ahead. But as someone who tracks this, who tracks space probably the best in India and maybe globally, explain to us that from here on, the key milestones till Gaganyaan, that is next step for us. Decode that for us, because that's essentially the big ambition, isn't it?
Well, I just love what I do, and translating it to our audience is something which I love to do, both in English and Hindi. India has a very ambitious human space program. From now till 2027, when we are likely to send our first Indian to space from Sriharikota, the rocket, which is the launch vehicle Mark III, has already been human rated, meaning it is ready to take humans to space. It's the crew capsule which is taking much longer. The environment life control system is being developed by India on its own. Initially, we tried to buy it from outside. It was just too expensive, so we are developing that. There are hundreds of tests that need to be completed, of which there are 24 major tests that need to be completed before we can send an Indian to space from Sriharikota. But before we have that, there will be 2 uncrewed missions, meaning without humans, where we will send a robot, and we have a name for the robot, and the robot will be decked as a female, so she is a female robot, as Science Minister continues to say. Her name is Vyomitra. So this would be 2 uncrewed missions, and then we'll have a crewed mission going to space from India, which will carry 1 or 2 Indian astronauts for up to 3 days in space, or it could be 1 day. We still don't have a firm idea, but it could be 1 or 2. And there are 3 astronaut designates, and 1 astronaut we already have. 1 of them or 2 of them will fly. And then there is a very ambitious program to have the first Indian space station. We already have a small space lab which we fly off and on as part of the PSLV 4th stage, where scientists are able to do some experiments in microgravity, but to have a full-fledged Indian space station called Bharatiya Antariksh Station. First modules of that would fly in about 2028.
Okay.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has told ISRO, we can see the mother literally crying.
Absolutely, emotional.
These are tears of joy, I'm sure. She was very, very emotional. So this is, we can see the family going through a lot of emotions.
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. And in fact, we have Dr. Srimati Kesan as well. Dr. Kesan, I'm going to come to you in a bit, but I want to play out this important conversation that my colleague Shreya had with Dr. Jitendra Singh in terms of the momentous occasion today it is. Let's listen into that conversation that we get in Dr. Srimati Kesan after that.
So Shubhanshu Shukla will be back on the 17th of August in New Delhi. So what do you think about the next giant space mission in India, from India? And when will we get the outcome of all the experiments, the 60 plus experiments that were explored?
No, I think the experiments are all, of course, they have just come back. But what is more important is all these experiments were indigenously designed, indigenously developed. Even the kits, the material, the literature, which was researched in order to create those kits, was also done. And I'm glad that some of the institutions associated with this ministry, like for the Department of Biotechnology, and also thereafter IIT, the Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore. So this was whole of science and whole of nation. And yeah, absolutely. So on the one hand, there were life sciences, like study of muscles, which is called myogenesis. On the other hand, study of the human impact vis-a-vis constant or continuous use of electronic gadgets like watching electronic screens, etc. On the other hand, growing plants, seedlings in that microgravity milieu, even the crop seedlings, also testing the endurance of the living beings there in the extreme conditions. And these experiments are going to produce inferences which are going to be of utility for the entire mankind. And that's why I have the confidence to say that when Prime Minister Modi envisages the concept of Vishwabandhu and calls upon us to prepare ourselves for that kind of role, today Shubhanshu has shown us the direction of moving in that way.
India is unstoppable. So what is the next step in India's space research?
No, see, the experiments done today, both technically, docking, undocking, stepping in, is going to add to our cumulative experience as far as our Gaganyaan is concerned, which is possibly going to happen in the first quarter of 2027. But more importantly, for the Bharat Service Station, Bharat International Space Station, which we envisage for 2030, because they're here. And before that, by around 2028, we are going to have Chandrayaan 4, which has series of docking and docks. There was 5 components going there, separating, uniting, while coming where there will be one left, just 20%. So this will give us a huge amount of confidence for the ultimate mission. And of course, an Indian on the surface of moon, maybe hopefully by 2040.
All right, that was Dr. Jitendra Singh explaining what lies ahead in terms of India's space roadmap. Dr. Srimati, let me rope you in. She's founder and CEO of Space Kids India. Your first thoughts on the successful completion of the mission and the significance of this milestone?
We have to say, yoo-hoo, we have to have all the dance party here now. Well, apart from that now, this is such an incredible moment, I have to tell you, because every time, now I'm seated here in Scotland, and until yesterday I had a couple of meetings in London. People were taken over. They were gaga. They thought, still we are the snake charmer's land. Still we don't know whether there was internet available in India. So many things people still perceive about India. And this is going to be such a historic thing that is going to be hitting the entire world, I have to tell you. And this is very, very important here. What I wanted to, let you know that this is not only a success of going to the international station and coming back. I look at it at in a massive macro scale, because we Indians are extremely a friendly and absolutely cultural friendly nation, where we invite a lot of smaller countries to be a part of our missions. And I think if our Gaganyaan mission is a success, continuously people would love to go from Indian soil as vis-a-vis to the other countries, because they not only love coming to India, but if India is able to take them to the space, then what else can they ask for?
Okay.
So I think this is a huge step.
Dr. Srimati.
Yes, Palwaji.
I am also equally excited like you are to have Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla back on Earth. Like you are excited, I am equally excited. But you flew in microgravity conditions. What do you think Shubhanshu Shukla must be facing on microgravity when he has come back into gravity after 18 days at the International Space Station? You experienced this in that parabolic flight.
Yes, just for a day, and it was for a couple of hours. Thank you so much for reminding that always, Pallavaji, because that is such a close to my heart event, I have to tell you. So when I got back, it was a little difficult because even the breathing, it was fraction, it was only, I could feel about 1.5 to 2 G. That itself was too much. And, coming to gravity, I mean, to stand straight took a few minutes. I think for 18 to 20, 18 days he spent in the International Space Station floating all through. I'm sure he's going to take a while to start feeling gravity and start walking. But, for the amount of training that he's undergone, the mental strength that he has, I'm sure this fighter is going to be all smiles, carrying those, inspiring the younger generation, I have to tell you.
Dr. Srimati, you work with school children and some of the most children's government school children. Do you think Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is going to become a role model, and will we see young Shubhanshu Shuklas emerging from the schools where you train them about space?
Absolutely, Pallavaji, you just nailed it, and it's the right question that you had mentioned here. From the Azadi Sat, where 750 rural girl children had built that satellite for the 75th Indian independence. Today, we have at least about 10 of them, girls, wing to be fighter pilots from those villages. They didn't even know the spelling or meaning of space and spacecrafts. Today they stand tall to say that we want to be fighter pilots.
Indeed.
So, yeah,
and I think that's the single biggest contribution of Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla. Okay,
he's going to be an icon.
Yes, indeed. I'm afraid I'll have to leave it there, Dr. Srimati and Pallava sir. Thank you so much for speaking to me and decoding as we continue NDTV's special broadcast, decoding every aspect of the significance of today. Viewers, a quick break. We return with some of the other stories. Stay with us.